5 maps, 2 teams, everything on the line. After a back and forth series filled with some interesting comps and clutch plays, it all came down to the final map, Samoa. Quick Esports were on the verge of a 1-2 comeback, but in the most unlucky, 1 in a million moments, it all came crashing down. But how the hell did we get here in the first place? Let's rewind it back to the start of the map. You see, Quick Esports had just won the last map, so they had the momentum going forwards. The bans for this map are Reaper and Ana, and across all 3 rounds, Quick Esports and Vision default to the standard Hazard comp. Of course, he's been meta for the last month or so, and the hotfix patch did absolutely nothing. Sojourn takes the hit scan slots, mainly for the burst damage in her railgun and her mobility. Lucio Kiri are played not just for their mobility, but their damage from distance too, especially compared to previous Brig Juno backlines. And last but not least, Genji fills the flex DPS spots as a jack of all trades. It should be somewhat obvious, but this comp has a lot of burst damage and a lot of burst mobility. Between the threat of a Hazard one-shots, Sojourn rails, Genji dash combos, or just Kiriko landing headshots, any of the above are vital in getting an advantage and pushing it. For example, in the first fight, we can see Slowdive use Power Slide early due to the threat of the hazards. Willis tries to capitalize on this small advantage by leaping onto Slowdive, but bumps his head on the high ground. This then means that Slowdive can get away without a scratch. Taejong then hits a single shuriken headshot, which makes him confident enough to commit the full fan dash combo. This forces Dip to leave and for Natsuki to wall ride over. This wall ride though allows Slowdive to pressure out Natsuki, eventually landing the kill. From there on, the rest of Vision clear up Willis and take first fights. As you can see, it's really the dash that kickstarted this chain of events, and why Genji is pretty much hard meta. Next fight, Simple has about a 20% ult advantage over Yoham, which Vision intends to use as their main advantage. You can see Imo just chilling, so Simple farms up that Kitsune. But Willis has different ideas. He knows that he needs to make a play to win this fight, so he pushes the Sojourn and almost lands the one-shot. It forces Vision on the back foot, so Simple pops Kitsune to regain ground. But a fantastic wall from Imo stops that from happening. Willis tries to just farm it, but the damage ends up being too much for him to handle. Now Quick Esports have their own Kitsune rush. Surely they just win now, right? Well, not so fast. Imo gets pressure to use his leap early, and Willis tries to punish him with his spikes. However, a clutch Suzu from Simple alongside a deflect from Taejong not only make the hazard ult worthless, but also turns it against Willis. Dip tries to deflect for both himself and Willis, allowing Imo to use his own hazard ult, catching and killing Natsuki. Imo does end up dying for this too, and Yoham tries to push the tank advantage with Kitsune. However, a smart disengage by Vision renders it useless. Because Natsuki is dead, so she can't use her beat even if she had it, Vision end up beat blading to close out the first round quickly. The start of the second round is actually very similar to the start of the first round. This time though, it's Dip that gets the better of Taejong, hitting multiple shurikens that shred Taejong to 1 HP, allowing Willis to finish off the kill. However, Dip also dies in an attempt to chase down the Lucio for the final blow. Now because Taejong is back faster, Willis ends up getting pincered between the Hazard and the Genji, forcing Willis to leave points and giving Vision the first flip. However, third time lucky, Willis leaps onto Slowdive, just about landing the kill thanks to Hazard's ridiculous slash range. This prompts Simple to pop Kitsune, and Willis gets a bit too greedy for the kill once again. From there on, it becomes an absolute dogfight, with Snowdrop catching 2 just before he dies. Yoham does get the flip at least, but not for long. He does get a better Kitsune this time, going across the high grounds, with Imo trying to respond with the spikes. Taejong swings the corner, seeing if anyone got caught, but walks right into Snowdrop with a fully charged railgun. For the rest of the fight, the sheer pressure from Quick is too much for Vision to handle, thanks to the Kitsune and man advantage. Now, with the momentum in Quick's favour, Dip pops the blade, forcing AoE to beat. The issue though is Dip keeps committing instead of dashing out. This causes Natsuki to beat in an attempt to save Dip, but it's too little too late. Willis also commits the spikes, finding nothing, but to make up for it, he gets a great wall onto AoE. Vision likely panic, popping both the blade and overclock, and unsurprisingly, it's a dogfight. It ends with both of Vision's DPS staying alive somehow, but now they're getting pincered by Dip coming back from spawn, and a Hazard Kiriko who stayed alive, so you can guess who wins. This clusterfuck of a fight actually ends up being devastating for Vision, because half the point has already gone to Quick. It takes some smart pathing by Immo to flank onto Yoham to open up the fight. Again, one thing this series has taught is that even after the opening pick, the fight somehow becomes more losable. In this case, there's a 2-on-2 side duel happening between both Lucios and the Genji Hazards. Because Hazard just has more bulk, Quick ends up winning the 2v2. Willis stalls the point and trades his life out for Simple, and just doing some simple math, the numbers advantage goes to the side of Quick. For the cherry on top, Yoham lays out the Kitsune to secure the second round for Quick. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for. The winner faces D Impero for the final spot in Stage 1 of OWCS. This one is for all the marbles. Starting off, we see a tense Lucio Genji side duel with Willis joining in to try and make an impact, but quickly followed up by Immo, looking to do the same thing. This ends up in a stalemate, and the team's taking two very different but equally interesting playstyles. Vision tries a much slower approach, playing for point and playing for ult charge. In contrast, Quick are trading out point control for map control, with their Hazard playing to the right, the Genji playing to the left, and the Sojin Kiri down main. After capping the points, Immo leaps to try and catch Natsuki, but because of the angle Willis has, it's very easy for him to isolate and kill Immo. Simple also commits TP and Suzu to try and save him, somehow getting out alive. Regardless, Dip catches Taejong and Simple, allowing Quick to win first fights. Now with a roughly 10% Kitsune advantage, Quick Esports live up to their name by quickly catching the Genji Lucio and racking up another fight win. Next fight, you can see the great pincer that Willis has with Dip, making it very hard for anyone to walk through the choke. Snowdrop also has a great angle on it too. Immo knows this, so he tries to clear Willis, but due to Willis's wall alongside the spikes, Immo kinda gets cooked by everyone. Simple tries to drop the Kitsune to respond, but that's matched by Natsuki's beat, allowing Quick Esports to catch Immo and rack up yet another fight win. Now, if Quick Esports are avid Capitology watchers, they might have chosen to bait the overclock from Slowdive. In other words, just retreating back after Slowdive presses the funny Q button. Instead, Quick play incredibly fast with the blade, and while they lose this fight, it's actually great for Quick. Vision used 3 ults, whereas Quick only used 1, setting up the next fight perfectly. Things start off great as they clear out Immo, then pop the overclock to push their advantage. Immo responds with his spikes, but Willis does some snazzy tech with his wall, blocking the spikes that come down from above. Even better, Snowdrop catches Slowdive, and Yoham has Kitsune. So how do they lose this? Well, they don't. But because Vision prioritized the point cap earlier, that choice is now paying off, since Quick are still 15% off winning. Slowdive goes Tracer to touch, and Taejong desperately dashes to get the overtime ticking. If you couldn't tell, here's where things get messy. The Lucio dies to Willis, then Simple pops the Kitsune to try and swing things back. Yoham trades with Simple though, and Willis zones the Kitsune with his spikes. Despite the spikes not hitting anyone, Natsuki is just inches away from the beats. They also boop Taejong with Dip landing the final blow, but here's where we get to the heartbreaking moments. Natsuki goes to the jump pad to help Willis, amping speed to jump up the platform. However, unintentionally, Immo blocks Natsuki and they end up going into the lava. You can't make this shit up even if you tried. Willis then dies quickly after, and because AoE is already back, Vision end up winning this fight.
Immo body blocked him from above? Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. He tries to take it, and then Immo is above him right now.
Yeah, that's actually insanely unlucky. And then loses his job because of it.
Yes.
Natsuki did also say, like, oh, actually, he was like, I free first round anyway, so it's on me either way.
Like
So Natsuki's taking responsibility.
Now technically Quick can still win this map, but Vision are coming up to 4 ults, Quick are only gonna get 2. They try and rush with beats, which is a good play, and they do catch Taejong, and they even catch Simple with the blade too. But because Vision's ult advantage is so massive, they still win a 3v5 just because of the beat blade. Now I do want to give my condolences to the Quick players because I know Snowdrop is likely watching this. The last thing I want to do is add salt to the wound because I do believe you guys had the better macro and micro on the last rounds. Special shoutout goes to Willis, who showed how intelligent he can be when it comes to outplaying ult disadvantages, landing one-shots, and doing weird kinds of tech that I didn't know existed. If this video does well, or you guys are especially keen, I would like to make another video covering the more interesting comp dynamics on Blizzard World, instead of just covering a hazard mirror. Anyways, that's it for now. Check out my coaching if you want to get better at the game, and until next time.